same mud, same soil, same sun, same stars, same moon, different world. Same earth, different world. Your consciousness creates the world that you live in. Let's get to the creativity part. Whatever world your consciousness creates, that world will come with problems. How do you solve said problem? You do that through creativity. The creative mind solves problems. Perhaps we can go through lessons, or might shot me a pussy protesting, come with that lip professing. You must take a lawful fool. Where's his jewel? Is he using mathematics as a tool? Tell me, destroy born God, and I came to build. Today's mathematics. Today's the 19th. Today's mathematics is knowledge born. What's up, everybody? This is not quite the Way Left podcast, but it is the Way Left podcast. I'm your co-host, rolling solo for this quick little minute. Kevin K. Dog Phillips. My co-host is not here, but we'll he's coming through a little later on today, so we're gonna reshoot. Anyway, what I'm gonna build on. So I want to build on consciousness, okay? And then I want to build on creativity. So let's get into it. The world you create, right? See, a lot of times you'll hear people say the life you create for yourself, right? This is the life that you want. This is the life that you created, blah, 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 right? But that life exists in a world, and that world exists here above all else, okay? Your real world experience is a product of your mind, consciousness, and the world that you create or created. Your real world experience, the walls, the brick, the sand, the mud, the earth, that's a product of your consciousness. So you have to separate these two ideas. There's your world, and then there's the world. So you create your world through consciousness. So when I say without consciousness, there's no world, what I'm saying is that your consciousness create the world that you live in. So here's a real world example, right? If you're married or you wish to be married, you wish to have kids, you wish to raise a family, you wish to raise them in the church with Christian values, or you wish to raise them with spirituality. You wish to raise them as Buddhists. Okay? Your consciousness, the desires in your consciousness, that's going to create that world for you, right? You'll go out every day with this consciousness to find the woman to give birth to your children, to raise them Catholic. So your inner world, your mind thinking world is now creating your real world experience. You meet a woman, you marry, you have kids, you raise them in whatever manner you want to raise them, built on your consciousness. But if you didn't have this consciousness, right, then you would just seek sex. And so you would have random sex with random women. And then you might knock a woman up and have a kid, and now your world is court, child support, riffing with the mom, spending weekends with your kids. My world, since I wanted to get married and have kids and raise them in a certain kind of way, my world is I wake up every day with my wife, with my kids, I take them to school. And on the weekends, I'm with them doing other things. I take them to the movies just like you, but I had them all week. I had them since Monday. You only had them since Friday night, right? So we're living in two different worlds. Why? Because our conscience was different. My conscience said, marry, have kids, blah, 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 blah. Your conscience said, I'm just trying to get children are a mistake in your world. Children are accidental in your world. In my world, children are planned. Children are desired. Children are wanted. In my world. In your world, they're accidents. The real world experience then creates this other thing where you're in court for child support and I'm at the park. I'm speaking and negotiating things with my wife, and we're coming to understandings on things. You're in fistfights and arguments with your baby mama and her family, right? Same mud, same soil, same sun, same stars, same moon, different world. Same earth, different world. Your consciousness creates the world that you live in. Now, let's get to the creativity part. Whatever world your consciousness creates, that world will come with problems. How do you negotiate, solve said problem? You do that through creativity. The creative mind solves problems. So first you have to have a consciousness. And your conscious, see, let's make this point too. Don't get confused with conscious like, oh, there's conscious rap. And conscious rap is this high level way of thinking and all that. No, you cannot, your consciousness is not dictated on how high or how low your vibration. Your vibration could be minimal, still a consciousness. Okay. If you're okay. Here's two different worlds again. So this is the married man versus the gigolo. Here's the drug addict versus the clean living soul. The drug addict sees the underworld. The drug addict sees stores as an opportunity to steal, sell goods, and buy more drugs. The straight-laced brother, the man without the addiction, sees stores as places to buy goods and buy goods that he needs for himself or his family or what have you. We see the same thing, brick and mortar retail store, but our consciousness sees the use for that place as two different things. You see it as a place to steal from. I see it as a place to buy from. I don't see the drug dealer on the corner. I mean, he's there, but I don't necessarily see him. If I take notice of him, I see him as somebody that I may fear, or I may just not want to have anything to do with. I may empathize with his situation and his condition and say, yeah, I understand, brother, you selling drugs for this, that, and the third, but I don't want any dealings with you. Right? So if I'm coming down the street and I see you on my side of the street, I cross the street. But you as the drug addict, you walking down the street, you see the drug dealer, you approach the drug dealer. You look for conversation and relationship with the drug dealer. Even if that relationship is transactional, you're still looking for a relationship with that drug dealer. You have a relationship with him. I don't. Same earth, different world. I don't see nothing that you see as a drug addicted person. I might witness it, but I don't necessarily see it. Let's take it to the problem solving question. The problem you need to solve every day is your fix. The problem I need to solve every day is my shelter and sustenance. Same earth, different world. So you see a store as a solution to your problem. Steal from the store, sell those things, buy some drugs, problem solved. I see a store and say, I need some Vaseline. I need chapstick. My lips are dry. I go in, buy Blistex, leave. Dry lips, problem, go in the store, buy Blistex, problem solved. You Jonesin, go in the store, steal Blistex, sell it to somebody, buy some drugs, problem solved. Here's an interesting point. Who's more creative, right? I just walk in with some cash and buy the Blistex and leave. Not very creative. You have to find a clever way to steal this, get away with it. You have to find a way to sell it to somebody. You have to negotiate that price so that it's low enough that anybody will buy it, but high enough to buy the drugs that I need. It's pretty fucking creative. You put some thought into that. So let's get into creativity. I hated when the schools started to eliminate and reduce music, dance, and art out of the classroom, right? This was budgetary concerns or whatever it was, but I didn't like this. I didn't like this. And I didn't like this because if you do not service the creative part of your mind, then you are dousing the fire of creativity. Hence, you are dousing the spirit of problem solving. Because problem solving comes from creativity. You hear it in meetings all the time. We need a creative way to solve this problem. There's no such thing as a bad idea. We have a problem. We need some solutions. Let's hear them. Your creative mind is at work trying to solve these problems, okay? Now, once you come up with the baseline of a solution, then the other parts of your mind get to work to see if this is valid or not. Do we have the infrastructure to do this? Is this feasible? Is this viable? Right? Will this actually solve the problem? So you move from your creative mind to where you thought of the baseline for a solution and what a solution might look like to now whether or not this solution is even viable. Right? So that's getting more into your math and science and English part of your brain, part of the school, part of the class, right? That part of school never goes away. Right? You always have math, social studies, science, and English, right? You always have that. We can get rid of music. We can get rid of art. We can get rid of dance. We got to keep these other four things intact. Because on the surface, it would appear that you solve problems through intellect. And that's not necessarily true. You solve problems through creativity. Creativity solves problems, not intellect in the way that you would describe it, not as you would define it in this context. Oh man, I'm using too many big words. Tricky words. I'm using tricky words. I'm not using tricky words. I'm using words that you can't understand. Nigga.
You say a lot of tricky words. No, I don't. I say regular words that's tricky to you.
Ooh, man. That was not pretty. But anyway, tricky words. I'm using tricky words. Creativity solves your problems. Here's a problem. I need a creative way to solve it. You don't say that, right? This is subconscious. You don't say that. You don't say, I need to come up with some creative solutions, right? Now, you've heard that said before, right? Think about the times you've heard that phrase. I need a creative way to solve this problem. Okay, where's that creativity come from? What part of the brain is at work? The same part of the brain that dances, that finds rhythm, that finds notes, that creates new music, new dance, that creates new art, right? That does these kinds of things. There. Shout out to is this my latest creation? This is my latest creation. I'm a terrible artist. But it does two things. It eases my mind, puts me at ease, takes me outside of the mental chatter, the constant chatter that's going on. Feed me, pay me, work here, do this. Where's that? How long is it gonna take before when you coming? When you leaving? Constant chatter. This takes me out of that constant chatter. I didn't paint that, by the way. I painted the thing on top. But I didn't paint that. I don't have the talent for that. That was a gift given to me by a brother who I believe he lived in Connecticut, but we were in Harlem together. But anyway, conscious creativity, that mind is working on how do I deal with this? How do I solve this? How do I work with this? How do I deal with this? But what are you tapping into? What part of your mind, what part of your consciousness, what part of your intellect are you tapping into? You're tapping into the same part of your mind, consciousness, and intellect that deals with dance, that deals with the circle of fifths. It's a music term, okay? That deals with the 1, the 3, and the 5. Another music term, right? You're dealing with the mind that sees colors, shapes, that sees expression. That's the mind, that's the part of the mind you're dealing with to solve a real world problem. Don't eliminate creativity from your mind, because if you do, you will in effect eliminate problem solving from your mind. Problems are solved through creativity. Even when you look at things that you buy to solve a problem, the creativity for that thing you're about to buy, that's already been done. So you may just be looking at this through logistics. Say, if logistically, I can buy this machine, and this machine will operate and it will solve the problem that I have of being able to mass produce this thing, and this machine will mass produce that for me. I can produce it with my hands, but that's too slow. I need something faster. I need a machine. So I buy this machine. Now, that's not particularly creative on your part, but who designed and created the machine? A creative person did that. Someone said hands are too slow, too inefficient. We need machinery that can do this faster. So I have to mimic the movement of a hand. I have to mimic the precision of the eyes. I have to make a connection between what a man sees here and what he wants here. He sees it here, he needs it here in his hands. How do we go about doing that? The machine then has to do this and do that and be able to do this and be able to see this and be able to transfer the information from here to here. How do I tell the machine what's here? This is creativity. This is creative problem solving. That doesn't come if you don't have a creative mind. Now, people will say, well, you don't have a background in art and you're still a problem solver. You're not very good at art, you're still a problem solver. Be that as it may, I will argue with anyone on the point that whether you're good at art or not is irrelevant. You still understand the concept. Whether you focus on art or not, it's irrelevant. You still understand the concept. And if you understand the concept of art and creativity, if you understand the concept of music and creativity, if you understand the concept of dance and creativity, then whether you're good at it or not, whether you have rhythm or not, whether you have lyrics or not, you can tap into that part of your mind and solve a problem. You just have to be good at whatever problem you're trying to solve. You have to be good at that. Sure. You have to understand what you're talking about, but your mind has to also know and understand what part of the brain are we going to tap into. What is he trying to access? He's trying to access a solution to this problem. Well, what part of our brain do we go to find that solution for him? We go to the creative side of the brain. This is all being done for you. You don't even understand what's happening. Your brain is doing this for you. It's tapping into, he has a problem, he doesn't know what to do. Yeah, but he understands engineering. He's learned engineering. Yeah, but the problem he's trying to solve hasn't been done before. We don't know anything about that. We have no template for that. No template. So you mean it's a blank canvas? No template. So you mean these moves haven't been done before? No template. Oh, okay. So then this song has never been sung. That's the creative mind at work to solve whatever problem and create the solution to whatever problem you have. That's how that works. Peace to all the guys in the earth. This has been a 22-minute long video as a part of the Way Left Podcast. The Way Left Podcast is brought to you by Bingo Bango. It is actually not. I just love saying Bingo Bango. The Way Left Podcast is brought to you by whatever black business comes to mind as I'm speaking. Most days that's Bingo Bango, but there are others. Love Us Brand, Black and Bold Coffee. Oh man, I'm just thinking about all the ones that are like that I've met and spoken with. But anyway, Kid Dog out.